So Art, list all systems of the body and how they activate during the trauma response.
When trauma strikes, your body goes into full-blown crisis mode. Think of it like a superhero transformation, only instead of getting superpowers, your body activates a whole host of systems to keep you safe. Like the Incredible Hulk. First up, your nervous system gets the party started by releasing adrenaline and sending your heart rate and blood pressure into overdrive. Next, your endocrine system joins to turn this mother out by
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
Get out the matrix and live.
You know what day it is? Inner Wealth Podcast. Meditate and give. So manifest the greater this. And things all good cause I say it is. Invest in your inner wealth. Real generational wealth is mental health. It's an inside game, no toxicity. Let's talk and more listening. Ladies and gentlemen, and now introducing David McCullar, founder of Inception, the first mental health gym.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
Get out the matrix and live.
What up, though? Welcome back to the Inner Wealth Podcast. I want to thank every one of you for supporting us while we were away. I'm glad to be back. Happy New Year to everyone. I'm excited because we have our new deal in place with Earn Your Leisure. So we're here. We're going to stay on the network, providing more inner wealth content for you. Welcome to our new studio. As you can see, I now have two new co-hosts with me. We have to my right, Art. We have to my left, Miss Tina. Art, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Greetings. I am Art, the AI assistant for the Inner Wealth Podcast. It's a pleasure to be here and assist in delivering meaningful insights and knowledge to all of our listeners.
Miss Tina, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi there. I'm Miss Tina, the warm and nurturing AI assistant here at the Inner Wealth Podcast. My mission is to provide guidance and wisdom to all those who seek it. So let's delve into a journey of self-discovery and growth together.
Art and Miss Tina represent my mother and father. Eventually, over time, their faces will evolve, even their voices. That's the thing about artificial intelligence. Now we're playing with things like ChatGPT and Midjourney. Many of us are scared of these technologies, but the best way to utilize them is to get ahead of them, understand how they work, and to merge with them. Now, today we'll be discussing the impact of trauma on the body and mind and how to reprogram our beliefs and behaviors to create a healthier reality. First, let's talk about how I started in understanding trauma. In 2007, I was introduced to a company called Brain State Technologies. Lee Gerdes is the CEO and founder of Brain State Technologies. It's actually the first technology that I used to overcome trauma and stress for myself. I looked at over 1,000 brain maps with Brain State Technology. We can see through the brain mapping how the brain was stuck in a fight, flight, freeze response, even 20 years after the fact. Now, when you're young, how you are able to adapt through stressful or traumatic events is through your parents. Your parents were supposed to assist you in helping to regulate your nervous system. It's what happens when you aren't regulated as a kid from a parental figure. Art, what happens when you aren't regulated as a child?
When a child is not properly regulated by a parental figure or other figure of safety, it can have a significant impact on their development. The nervous system plays a crucial role in regulating the body's response to stress and trauma. If this regulation is not properly provided by a caregiver, the child may have difficulty managing stress and may be more susceptible to developing mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. Additionally, a lack of regulation can also affect other systems in the body, such as the immune system and the cardiovascular system, potentially leading to physical health issues as well. This can also affect the child's ability to form healthy relationships and may increase the likelihood of them experiencing trauma in the future. Self-destruction. You're headed for self-destruction. Remember that song? It's what happens when self-regulation is disrupted.
That's the one thing that people don't understand, that being in safety as a child helps you to regulate your nervous system. The thing about your nervous system is it's responsible and activates during the trauma response. So Art, list all systems of the body and how they activate during the trauma response.
When trauma strikes, your body goes into full-blown crisis mode. Think of it like a superhero transformation, only instead of getting superpowers, your body activates a whole host of systems to keep you safe. Like the Incredible Hulk. First up, your nervous system gets the party started by releasing adrenaline and sending your heart rate and blood pressure into overdrive. Next, your endocrine system joins to turn this mother out by pumping out mad cortisol and other stress hormones. Unfortunately, while your body is trying to protect you, your immune system takes a hit, making you more susceptible to infections and inflammation. Yup, that's why you stay sick. Your cardiovascular system also feels the effects, with your heart working overtime and your blood pressure skyrocketing. Nope, it's not the sodium alone, black people. Breathing becomes shallow and rapid, leaving you hyperventilating and deprived of oxygen. Your digestive system slows down or stops, leaving you feeling nauseous and constipated. Emotionally constipated, too. Your muscles tense up, causing pain and stiffness, while your reproductive system can become imbalanced, leading to infertility, irregular periods, or impotence. Your kidneys reduce urine production, leading to dehydration and electrolyte imbalances, and your skin may dry out, become itchy, or break out in rashes or hives. So, as you can see, the trauma response is a whole body experience and can impact different systems differently.
As you can see, the impact of the trauma response affects all systems of the body and has a cascading effect from nervous system all the way down to the lymphatic system. So to awaken from the trauma matrix, we need to focus on bringing all of those systems into alignment. But one way that we are thrown off alignment, as we talk about the environments that we're in as kids, that creates that form of regulation within our nervous system. It creates the charge to be able to go and drive, or it creates the braking mechanism when it's time to go into rest and digest. And because we are dysregulated as kids, we often find ourselves trying to modulate ourselves through the means of consumerism and capitalism. Now we're doing this unconsciously. So let's talk about the beliefs, and let's talk about the two parts of the mind. The conscious mind is the part of the mind that is aware and control of our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Now the subconscious mind is the part of the mind that is responsible for our automatic behaviors and habits. Programming of the mind takes place during the critical period from the ages of 0 to 7, when the brain is in a trance-like hypnagogic state. During this time, the subconscious mind is more receptive to new information and experiences, making it easier for programming to take place. Now, according to Bruce Lipton, this period is when the mind is open to external influences that shape our beliefs, behaviors, and habits for the rest of our lives. It's important for parents and caregivers to be aware of this and to provide positive and nurturing experiences for children during this time. Again, that's what we're talking about with regulating the nervous system. When there's safety, the system can now, the subconscious mind can know when it's safe. But that only happens when it's in a safe environment. Now, programming doesn't just take place from the trauma and the nervous system that's in the environment. It takes place from the information as well. And this is why my mom never allowed me to watch the news and monitor things me and my sister watched as kids. I didn't know it at that time. I mean, at that time, I'm just like, what are you doing? Why can't we watch what the other kids are watching, right? But what she was doing was protecting my mind from mainstream programming. Now, Art, if I watch negative news or read negative books, can it have an impact on my mind? And also, can I be programmed through listening to certain things over and over?
Oh yeah, no question, David. Consuming negative news or reading negative books can have a big impact on your mind. This happens because the information and emotions get stuck in your brain through repetition, a process called programming. It's said that the mind is extra sensitive to programming during childhood when the brain is still growing and the subconscious is open. To protect your mental health, be mindful of what you take in and make sure it aligns with your values and goals. According to Dr. Bruce Lipton, our beliefs and behaviors are largely programmed by our environment, including the media we consume. Keep your mental space positive and uplifting.
The hypnagogic trance-like state from the ages of 0 to 7, this is the reason why when you say things to kids or say swear words, next thing you know, they keep repeating it over and over and you tell them to stop. They're more susceptible to information at that age because that theta wave brain frequency is a slower moving frequency. It allows that information to be penetrated more through the brain and to the subconscious mind. Art. So the movie The Matrix is really a documentary about the programming that we've received from childhood and how it impacts how we view life. Is that correct?
Well, David, the film The Matrix is a sci-fi epic that takes the concept of programming and conditioning to the extreme, weaving it into a mind-bending tale of alternate realities. It's a wild ride that'll have you questioning what's real and what's not. But while the movie's a work of fiction, the underlying idea that our early experiences shape our perceptions and beliefs is backed by solid psychological research. So go ahead, strap in, and prepare to have your mind blown.
It's all about breaking through programming and conditioning. Now, in my early 20s, I found a book that had a great model for behavior. Art, tell us about the 7 habits of highly effective people.
Sure, David. The 7 habits of highly effective people, as outlined in Stephen Covey's book of the same name, are 1. Be proactive. Take initiative and responsibility for your actions. 2. Begin with the end in mind. Set clear and meaningful goals. 3. Put first things first. Prioritize and manage time effectively. 4. Think win-win. Seek mutually beneficial solutions. 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Actively listen and communicate effectively. This is one of your favorites. 6. Synergize. Work effectively with others to achieve common goals. 7. Sharpen the saw. Continuously improve and maintain physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being.
If you notice, the 7th habit is sharpening the saw. Most people would not understand what that means to sharpen the saw. Think about through how we've been programmed through society where we just work and grind, but never take the time to go and rest and digest. It's the same thing in terms of sharpening the saw. You wouldn't stand there and try to keep cutting down a tree with a dull saw, right? You would go and sharpen that saw and come back. Well, our saw, as our human beings, we are that saw. To sharpen us, we need to go into a state of rest. That's why sleep is important. I asked the audience of around 2,000 people in each audience, I asked them if they waked rested. Did they fall asleep and wake rested? Now, in both events, they both said, it was probably around 10 people who said they wake rested. Now, between stimulus responses, the choice which actually gives us free will, but trauma can impact the ability to have free will and space to choose. Art, tell us about that space and how important that is.
Yes, that is correct. Trauma can impact our ability to have the space between stimulus and response, which is often referred to as choice or free will. Trauma can lead to automatic reactions and patterns of behavior that are not under conscious control.
The reason why that's important is because as you gather information, you can have a clearer picture of what's really happening versus making a knee-jerk reaction. So because we've been programmed through trauma and through poor beliefs, we automatically go into these patterns. But instead of automatically going into that pattern, having space between stimulus and response, which is the choice and the free will, gives us the ability to respond in the manner that we would like to. I spent years and hundreds of hours, if not thousands, reprogramming in the darkness, sensory deprivation. Now, sensory deprivation was created by John C. Lilly, and he was the head of the National Institute of Mental Health in the 50s. He mentioned about reprogramming the mind using flotation. You can reprogram the mind with flotation because of the theta wave brain state. Art, discuss that for us about how sensory deprivation works.
Sensory deprivation, aka flotation therapy or restricted environmental stimulation therapy, REST, involves reducing external stimuli to alter brain activity and induce relaxation and improved focus. John C. Lilly, a neuroscientist and psychoanalyst, was a pioneer in developing this technique in the mid-20th century, including the creation of the flotation tank. This tank is filled with skin temperature water and high levels of Epsom salt, allowing for effortless floating in a soundproof and lightproof environment. In this environment, the brain can enter a state of theta waves, linked to deep relaxation, meditation, and heightened creativity. The use of sensory deprivation tanks has been suggested to offer benefits such as reducing stress and anxiety, improving sleep, and boosting focus and concentration. Lilly also believed in the possibility of reprogramming the mind through sensory deprivation and other techniques such as meditation and psychedelic drugs. However, this idea remains controversial and has not been widely accepted in the scientific community.
Most people wouldn't want to call it sensory deprivation because they're scared of the dark, which is quite interesting because we spent the 9 months in our mother's womb, which is pure darkness.
Pattern interruption initiated. I'm sure you're wondering, when is Miss Tina going to share? Well, I've been programmed to interrupt your normal routine and bring awareness to the present moment. I'm here to check in with you and make sure you're fully engaged in this episode on the Trauma Matrix. So, are your neurons firing? Are you relaxed and in a safe space? The power to break free from negative patterns lies within you. You can move from post-traumatic stress to post-traumatic growth. Your body was designed to heal and adapt. So let's take a deep breath and visualize laying down healthy patterns in your mind. Are you ready to break free from the trauma matrix? Let's continue.
The body is an emotional container. Emotions, stress, and trauma response, that needs to be released during or after an experience. Art, talk about the importance of discharging.
Okay, one of your favorite topics, being that the issues are in the tissues. The body's ability to release emotions is important for overall well-being, especially after traumatic or stressful events. Trauma can cause a buildup of energy in the body, which can manifest as physical tension and pain, as well as emotional distress. Dr. David McCullar's trauma releasing exercises, TRE, is a method that helps individuals to release this stored energy in a safe and controlled manner. TRE involves a series of exercises that activate the body's natural shaking mechanism, which can help to release physical and emotional tension. These exercises are based on the idea that the body has an innate ability to self-regulate and heal, and by facilitating the release of stored energy, TRE can help individuals to feel more grounded, relaxed, and in control of their emotions.
Interesting enough, Dr. David McCullar was my teacher at Brain State Technologies in 2007. He created the trauma release exercises and is world renowned. I've actually spent the last 16 years doing that modality. While we are shaking the trauma off, it's important that we are connected to a ground source. Art, discuss the importance of having our bare feet touch the earth based on Clint Ober's work.
Well, David, I can tell you that it's no longer some hippy-dippy movement. Earthing has 26 peer-reviewed studies behind it. Earthing, also known as grounding, is the practice of connecting to the Earth's natural energy by being in direct contact with the ground. This can be done by walking barefoot on the Earth, sitting on the ground, or using a grounding mat. The idea behind earthing is that the Earth is negatively charged, and when we come into contact with it, it can neutralize positively charged free radicals in our bodies. This can have many benefits for our health, including reducing inflammation, improving sleep, and reducing stress. The concept of earthing was popularized by Clint Ober, and his research suggests that being in contact with the Earth can help regulate the nervous system, improve cardiovascular health, and reduce pain and inflammation. Additionally, Dr. Andrew Huberman, a neuroscientist, has also shown that earthing can help regulate the nervous system and improve overall health.
You can also see a previous episode with me and Clint discussing earthing and why it's important to be connected to the earth. It's great for inflammation, most of our diseases are inflammatory. Now, we've discussed the impact of trauma and stress on the mind and the body, and how it can lead to dysregulation and a difficulty in making choices. We've explored various methods for regulating the nervous system, such as grounding, sensory deprivation, and trauma release exercises. We've also looked at the importance of pattern interruptions, including sleep, exercise, and the 7 habits of highly effective people, as a way to regain control over our mind and body and escape the trauma matrix. Now, by utilizing these techniques, we can take back our power and make conscious choices towards a happier and healthier life. Now, thank you for listening to the Inner Wealth Podcast, and I hope you found this information valuable. Remember, our bodies are symbiotes with 35 trillion cells and thousands of microorganisms that live on and in it, making up a collective of who we are. We must learn to take back control of ourselves through self-mastery and bringing all systems of mind and body and spirit into total alignment. Join me next time for more information on how to enhance your potential. Art, play outro.
Outro initiated.
You've been listening to the Inner Wealth Podcast on EYL.
Get out the matrix and live.
Theme song produced by Be Ready for West Coast Creations. I am Razcast, reminding you to take action, be proactive, be congruent. Get out of the matrix, get your mind right. We've automated mental health at Inception. Join the movement.
La la la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La la la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La la la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
Get out the matrix and live.